ultimately, hiring is a huge investment of trust by a company or a hiring manager and an individual. So the things that you can do that indicate that investment, that risk, that investment of trust is a good thing for them to do. So that's why a good profile with a lot of evidence and skills, recommendations are positive. But getting a personal recommendation, like part of the reason why having a network is useful is that, so for example, if someone wanted to, was here and wanted to go to Japan and work in, with Joey at Technorati Japan or Digital Garage, if they got a reference through me to Joey where I was like, oh yeah, no, I trust this person's credentials, they're really good, likelihood of possible job goes from 3% to like 80%, right? Because Joey knows that when I give a reference on somebody, I really mean it, and the person's like either, well, no, they're good at this and bad at that, or good at this. It's a solid reference. So getting a personal reference is almost always the way to get the most exciting opportunities.
In 2002, I started blogging, sort of January or so of 2002, and one of the things that I noticed as a blogger was that I was getting just amazingly interesting responses from people, either who would leave comments on my blog or who would post on their own blog. And what I realized, though, was that there were all of these people who were talking about the things that I cared about, right? Whether it was the topics at that time, say it was wireless stuff, or it was about Linux, or it was about blogging itself, and yet I'd never actually hear about what they said, because I essentially became this huge stats hound. Like, I just wanted to know everything that was going on around my blog, and every time I wrote a post, was there, how many people were clicking on it, and what were they doing, and what were they saying, and and so on. And what I realized was that all of the other search engines that were out there, and I use Google all the time, and Yahoo, and these are terrific search engines. But none of them really understood the concept of time. So when something actually occurred. And also none of them were real time. It would take anywhere from, at its fastest about 24 hours to, often weeks at a time before something actually showed up in Google. And even when it did, the results, I would type in my name or something, and, you'd have to page through hundreds of pages of results to be able to find that stuff. And so what I realized was that there was a really interesting itch that I wanted to scratch, right? That there was, something that I personally wanted that none of these other search engines were able to provide, which was basically I just wanted to know anytime anybody anywhere in the world ever talked about me.
So 6 Apart was the company that we created because we had created Type first, which was our first product, and we started the company about 6 to 8 months after we first released Movable Type. And what we wanted to do was kind of create a small company to sell our products and to create our products. And it ended up becoming a little bit bigger. I think it's really grown into something we never imagined. You can say the name, I guess.
So the name 6 Apart essentially comes from Mina and I were born 6 days apart. I was born the 22nd of September, she was born the 16th, so that's where the name comes from.
So it's not apartment?
No. San Francisco is a great city to work in, and I think that the majority of our people actually work here, or live here too, so I think it's nice to live and work in the same sort of city because it's a good culture.
Express the same things, but with different words. We acknowledge the same girl, and those might have hers. It's like the last line you draw to remind a past time, a fast minded feeling of freedom, please do be recognized. And I can hear your doctors calling from here to say, kill bias, independency, and I'll kill the seal, cause the young himself is stealthy mass appeal. Where's my news? Where's my news? If it's like every word slipping through my mouth has been used, staggering like the old man feeding a third. With my glass I reflecting half the things that I've learned. A windowless frame in a transparent room, filling up cracks with plastic assumes. Shape shift.